Something is quietly brewing in the Bay, and not enough people are talking about it. While most eyes were locked on Steph Curry's latest explosion against the Trail Blazers, another masterclass of shot-making and leadership, someone else has been making serious noise behind the scenes. A young guard, drafted late, not given much hype, not handed anything, is now on the verge of cracking the Warriors' rotation. His name is Will Richard, and over the last few preseason games, he's done more than just show flashes. He's made a real case to be taken seriously. Now, let's not get carried away too early, but let's call it how it is. It's incredibly rare for a late first-rounder to force his way into Steve Kerr's regular season rotation right out of the gate, especially as a guard. But that's exactly what Will Richard is doing. You look at his stat lines from the past few games, and yeah, the first one against the Lakers wasn't pretty. 3 points. But it's about the trend. 9 points the next time out against Portland. Then 5 against the Lakers again. And finally 13 in the most recent game back against the Blazers. What stands out? Efficiency. He went 3 for 5 from deep. That's exactly what the Warriors system demands. Guards who can stretch the floor, space it out, and knock down shots consistently. And when you add in 6 rebounds, that's not just effort, that's versatility. For a guard his size to rebound like that, that's hustle, that's heart, and it screams winning mentality. I'll be honest, I wasn't a big believer in Will Richard when the Warriors drafted him. I've seen too many guys get picked in the 20s and handed standard contracts as if they were lottery picks. And usually it just doesn't pan out. It felt like a gamble. I said the same thing about Bronny James, too. Just because a guy gets a contract doesn't mean he's earned it yet. It should be more of a prove-it situation, and that's what I wanted to see from Richard. Well, I gotta say, he's proving it now. And not just to the fans. Steve Kerr himself has taken notice. The fact that he's already hinting at giving Will Richard real, consistent minutes in the regular season tells you all you need to know. That's not something Kerr says lightly. But Will's rise creates some intriguing questions about the rest of the roster. If Richard keeps improving like this, where are those minutes coming from? Who sits? You look at the current guard rotation, and there are names that pop out. Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, maybe even Jonathan Kuminga, depending on how small they go. Now, I know Kuminga's not a guard, but in certain rotations where they go small, Richard could absolutely slide into that role. And here's where things get interesting. Kuminga hasn't exactly shown up in preseason. Not the way he needs to if he wants to hold down a key role on this roster. And if the Warriors really do end up landing a player like Jimmy Butler at some point, which has been floated around in whispers, you have to ask yourself, how does Kuminga fit into that? Do Butler and Kuminga really complement each other on the court? Or are they two pieces that don't quite mesh? And if one of them has to go, it's going to be the younger, unproven player. That's just the reality of team trying to win now. And speaking of major moves, here's where things take another turn. I came across an article recently that mentioned Bam Adebayo as a long shot for the Warriors. And yeah, at first glance, it seems out there. But the more I think about it, the more it starts to make sense. Look at what the Miami Heat are doing right now. They just extended Nikola Jovic, a young, stretch-capable big with shooting potential. They've got rookie Kamani Ware, who they've already labeled untouchable in trade talks. And they've made it very clear they're not going to give Jimmy Butler the extension he wants. If that's not a sign of a quiet rebuild or reset, I don't know what is. Now look at Bam. He's on a massive contract, $37 million. And while he's a defensive monster and one of the best switchable bigs in the league, his lack of consistent outside shooting limits how the Heat can build around him in a modern NBA offense. Jovic, on the other hand, gives them a more versatile offensive piece, even if he's not there defensively yet. So, if Pat Riley is truly looking to reset, Bam becomes a very interesting trade chip. From the Warriors' perspective, this opens up a real possibility. Because now, with young players stepping up, guys like Will Richard, the team suddenly has the depth and the assets to pull off a big trade without completely gutting the roster. Imagine a package with Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, and Jonathan Kuminga. That's not just salary filler. That's two young, promising wings on affordable deals and a veteran shooter who still commands respect on the perimeter. Kuminga has a trade kicker, sure, but it actually makes him more flexible in a potential deal. It gives the receiving team an out if things don't work out which adds value. Moody is the kind of two-way wing every team wants. He's steady, plays within the system, and defends his position. Hield brings shooting and spacing, and being from the Bahamas, a move to Miami might even feel like home. And Kuminga? He got upside. He's still raw in some areas, but if he finds the right system, he could break out. That's the kind of package that could at least start the conversation for someone like Bam. And don't forget, if this trade happens, it's not just about adding Bam. It's about opening the door for guys like Will Richard to step in and take on bigger roles. That's how the Warriors have always done it. Draft well, develop, and use your depth as leverage. That's what made them great, and they're trying to get back to that formula again. All of this, of course, depends on how the next few months play out. If Miami starts hot and looks like a real threat in the East, they'll probably hold on to Bam. But if they stumble early, don't be shocked if Pat Riley starts making calls. And if that happens, Bob Myers and Mike Dunleavy Jr. need to be ready to pounce. In the meantime, the Warriors have their own test coming up, starting with the Clippers. That game feels like more than just a preseason matchup. It feels like a statement opportunity. A tune-up? Yeah, but also a revenge game. Let's not forget, the Clippers were one of the reasons the Warriors got stuck in the play-in tournament last season. They were neck and neck fighting for that 6th seed, and when it came down to the wire, Golden State just didn't have enough. They dropped to the play-in, scraped their way past the Rockets, and then fell to the Timberwolves. That can't happen again. So this game against the Clippers? It's personal. It's about sending a message, not just to LA, but to the rest of the league. The Warriors want to be a top 3 seed. They want to avoid all that play-in drama. They want to hit the ground running, and a win over a stacked Clippers squad is exactly the kind of momentum builder they need. Now, I was just looking at that Clippers roster, and it's loaded. Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Bradley Beal, if he plays, Bogdan Bogdanović, Chris Paul, Brook Lopez, Ivica Zubac. That's a deep, veteran team. And even if not all of them suit up, it's still going to be a challenge. But that's exactly what you want this time of year. You want to see how your guys stack up. You want to test your depth. You want to see if someone like Will Richard can keep that upward trajectory going, especially in real game situations against legit NBA talent. The thing about momentum is once you've got it, the last thing you want to do is slow down. And right now, the Warriors are trying to build a wave big enough to carry them deep into the season, maybe even all the way back to where they believe they belong, the top of the Western Conference. But here's the catch. Building momentum doesn't just happen with wins. It comes from identity, from finding out who you are, what your rotation looks like, what guys you can rely on when it gets tough. And this is why these preseason games, especially one like the upcoming showdown with the Clippers, matter more than people think. Because right now, Steve Kerr has decisions to make. Real ones. And Will Richard's breakout is putting pressure on those decisions. He's forcing the coaching staff to rethink the hierarchy, especially in the backcourt. And as that happens, the ripple effect is felt across the entire roster. Think about guys like Moses Moody. He's been steady, but has he shown the kind of leap you need to lock down a guaranteed rotation spot? Maybe. But if Richard keeps outperforming expectations, it suddenly becomes a competition. And competitions bring out the truth in a roster. And then there's the Buddy Hield factor. He was brought in for veteran depth, shooting, and playoff experience. But he's not the same player he was a few years ago. He's had moments, sure, but nothing about his preseason performance says must play. He's a guy who could be moved if the right opportunity comes up. And with Richard playing like this, you almost feel like the organization is preparing for that very scenario. Add in the potential for a Bam Adebayo trade, and suddenly it all starts to make sense. The pieces are moving. You can feel it. Jonathan Kuminga is the biggest question mark of them all. There's no denying his athleticism, no denying his potential. But what has he done in this preseason to convince you he's taken that next step? Not enough. And the scary part is, you can almost see the clock ticking. This is his moment to prove he belongs as a long-term piece of the Warriors' future. If he doesn't do it now, in this window where the Warriors are clearly evaluating their youth versus their win-now core, he might never get the chance again. And when guys like Will Richard come in and immediately start showing consistency, effort, and a clear understanding of their role, it puts even more pressure on players like Kuminga, who sometimes still look like they're searching for their place in this system. And that's the big theme of this season, fit. Who fits with Steph? Who fits with Draymond? Who can thrive alongside Klay? The Warriors aren't in rebuild mode. They're in recalibration mode. They're still built to win now, but they know their margin for error is smaller than ever. That's why every decision matters. That's why every preseason minute carries weight. And that's why someone like Richard matters so much. He fits. He plays within himself. He doesn't need the ball in his hands all game to make an impact. He knocks down threes, rebounds hard for his size, and gives consistent effort on defense. That's the blueprint. Now, take a step back and look at the bigger picture. If the Warriors pull the trigger on a Bam Adebayo trade, it won't just be about getting Bam. It will be about reshaping the identity of the team. Bam gives you a switchable five who can anchor the defense, run the floor, and even initiate offense at times. He's not a shooter, but with the Warriors' shooting-heavy system, he wouldn't have to be. He'd be surrounded by snipers. All he'd have to do is defend, rebound, and play make when needed. That's a perfect fit next to Draymond in certain lineups, or even replacing Draymond long-term, if that conversation ever comes up. And the cost? It's not cheap, but it's manageable. Moody, Healed, and Kuminga form a package that's valuable but not devastating to the core. And with players like Richard stepping up, the Warriors can afford to lose some of that wing depth without falling off a cliff. That's how you stay competitive while also preparing for the future. That's the kind of move that keeps the dynasty flame alive instead of letting it burn out slowly. But before any of that happens, there's the Clippers. A real test, a barometer, and maybe even a bit of closure from last season's disappointment. Losing the 6th seed to them still stings. Having to claw through the play-in was a wake-up call. This is the chance to flip that narrative early. Come out sharp, play fast, defend with urgency, and make a statement. Show the rest of the West that this team isn't fading into the background. Show that they're not just holding on to the past. They're building towards something new. And you know Steph is going to show up. He always does. But the real story is going to be the guys around him. Is Chris Paul ready to be the second-unit maestro that this team needs him to be? Can Klay still find that deadly rhythm night in and night out? Will Draymond, once healthy, be the emotional anchor that holds it all together? These questions will start getting answered soon. But the most exciting question right now, how far can Richard go? Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. The NBA world is buzzing after LeBron James dropped a surprising comment during a recent interview, hinting at what could be one of the most shocking moves in basketball history. According to the four-time NBA champion, none other than Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr personally invited him to join the Warriors. The revelation has sent fans and analysts into a frenzy, sparking debates about what could have been and what might still happen. While LeBron didn't go into details, the implication is enough to ignite speculation. Imagine a lineup featuring LeBron James alongside the likes of Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. The thought alone is enough to make opponents shiver. Kerr, known for his calm demeanor and sharp basketball mind, apparently reached out personally, suggesting that the Warriors' blueprint could accommodate one of the game's greatest players. Whether it was a casual conversation, a serious recruitment attempt, or simply a friendly suggestion remains unclear. The NBA has always thrived on what-if scenarios, but this one feels particularly tantalizing. LeBron, who has spent his career chasing championships and redefining player influence on and off the court, seems almost untouchable in his ability to shape the narrative. And the idea that Kerr, himself a multiple-time champion, saw room for LeBron in Golden State adds an extra layer of intrigue. Fans have started imagining the possible dynamics, the press conferences, the social media reactions, and, of course, the unstoppable highlights. Of course, nothing is confirmed beyond LeBron's revelation, but the rumblings are enough to dominate sports talk shows, podcasts, and Twitter threads. Could this have been a fleeting moment, a genuine possibility, or just playful banter between two of the game's sharpest minds? Regardless, the story captures the imagination, reminding us why LeBron James continues to be more than a player. He is a living headline, a rumor generator, and a source of endless debate. For now, the NBA universe can only speculate, but one thing is certain. The thought of LeBron in a Warriors jersey will linger in fans' minds for a long time. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.